Welcome back to another episode of Azro Reacts. I'm your boy Azro, and today we are getting right back into that for my people. Cause shit is just getting crazy out here, man. It's getting crazy. These Africans, these Native Americans, they don't know what to fucking do. Them Native Americans, oh, y'all in trouble now. Y'all in trouble now. Y'all out here crying. Y'all out here crying like a motherfucker. No, let me stop. I'm just playing around on the keyboard. They out here crying like a motherfucker. They really want to accept black freemen into their group. Why? It wouldn't have nothing to do with they shit being cut. But hey, let me not chit chat a whole lot. Let me just go ahead and show y'all the videos, because I got something to show y'all today. So without even further ado, if you're enjoying the video, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe, because every little bit helps. And we thank you guys so much over here at Azro Reacts. Without further ado, let's get into these videos.
President Donald Trump's policies have hit the Native American community hard, and not many are talking about it.
The Trump administration started harassing tribal people, even detaining tribal people from this continent.
Descendants of the original inhabitants of the US are now being We meet up with Chief Richard and our guide Alexandra. She's showing us around the reservation, a stretch of land bigger than Washington, D.C., but with none of the resources. The tribe depends on agriculture, livestock, and a handful of tribal programs to keep things running. But even the basics, clean water, fresh food, are hard to come by out here.
This is our store, our only store.
So everyone is buying groceries there?
Not really groceries, because they don't have a lot of options, but like, you know, snacks and stuff.
Which is why most people here have no choice but to travel off the reservation for daily supplies and for work.
I will declare a national emergency at our southern border.
But since Donald Trump began his second term as president, those trips have become more dangerous. He's ordered immigration agents to ramp up arrests.
How many illegal criminals are you planning on exporting to El Salvador? And President Bukele, how many are you willing to take from the U.S.?
As many as possible.
And now even Native Americans, U.S. citizens on sovereign land, are being stopped and questioned.
My name is Callie Oldbull, and my Cree name is Kihuskwe.
Nikanyawe empiezo oasis netikatzon.
Estektuag Biesisqueo.
Wapski Kihuskwe on Tikasin. That translates to White Eagle Woman. That's my Cree name.
This is the Tribe Student Council, Native teenagers who will soon graduate high school. Some will leave to study elsewhere or work. Across the US, new raids and checkpoints are triggering civil rights violations. For these Native youth, it means being caught in the crosshairs of Trump's immigration dragnet.
Being a Native today in the United States of America, especially as an Indigenous woman, is sometimes scary. Going out alone, you can't do that.
By early 2025, more than a dozen reports started piling up. Immigration agents, ICE, were stopping and detaining Native Americans across Arizona and New Mexico.
So when that came about, our tribal chairman, he also put out a notice for all of the tribal members to carry their IDs, and it wasn't too soon Like after that, there was border patrol coming onto our reservation and parking in areas. After that, me and my family, we took precautions, and I even have a passport now too, so.
Other tribes we spoke to say border patrol agents in plain clothes are now showing up at places like gas stations, asking questions, demanding papers. No warning, no warrant.
So who does ICE detain? Anybody they suspect. I think they would detain natives, they would detain Hispanic people, and they would probably detain Asian people because they just lump them all together.
Here in the Chippewa Cree Student Council, the impact hits home.
I don't know, some of my family from down south, from the Navajo Nation, they get like asked a lot by any like law enforcement saying like, do you have like proof that you're from the United States?
I felt really scared to leave because we don't have as much protection under Native Americans as we do here on the reservation. It's just sad to see that and to be scared to go out into a world that we should call our own.
To avoid harassment or worse, detention by ICE, tribal members are advised to carry their tribal ID at all times, even though no US state requires anyone to carry ID by law. But racial profiling isn't their only concern. Many of Trump's recent policies are hitting reservations where it already hurts: healthcare, education, and federal support. For over 2 centuries, hundreds of treaties were signed between the tribes and the US government. Agreements that promised land, healthcare, education, and support in exchange for peace and territory.
Richard,
There's been 597 treaties made with Indians. Not one of them was broke by an Indian.
But under Trump, those treaties are being quietly dismantled. Agencies slashed, funding stripped, critical programs left to die. Now tribal leaders are asking, why is Trump coming after Indian country again?
We're standing here at a casino, and this is where it all started. Donald Trump's problem with the Native Americans is not new. It started way back in the 90s. When he was trying to establish his own casino empire, his biggest competition were the Indian-run casinos.
By the late 80s, Trump's casino business was bleeding cash. The market was saturated and competition was brutal. But the biggest threat? Native-owned casinos. They didn't pay federal taxes, they operated under tribal sovereignty, and they were booming. Trump tried to shut them down, filing lawsuits, claiming unfair competition. He lost, so he took his fight to Congress. There, he accused tribal casinos of being tied to organized crime. He even questioned whether Native Americans were even native enough to qualify for special protections.
I will tell you right now, they don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like the Indians. Now, maybe we say politically correct or not politically correct. They don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to Indians.
Thank God that's not the test of whether or not people have rights in this country or not, whether or not they pass your look test.
Depends whether, yeah.
When Congress brushed him off, Trump escalated. He launched a smear campaign, spending over $1 million on attack ads. But nothing he did defeated the tribal gambling houses. So a few years later, Trump changed tactics. In the early 2000s, he struck a deal with the Palm Springs Indians. Trump rebranded the tribe's casino, naming it after himself. For a while, it worked. But then Trump's casino empire started to crumble, and the Palm Springs Indians cut him loose, buying out his contract for $6 million. They dropped his name from the building, and just like that, Trump was out.
The Palm Springs Indians turned him down. They didn't want to do business with him. Anytime you disagree with him, you're on his hit list. You're an enemy of his, I reckon.
Native tribes are sovereign nations. They've got their own laws, tribal councils, and the right to self-rule. But they rely on the federal government for one thing.
We depend on federal funding just about every program we've got. We're not self-sufficient. Poverty has always been a problem in the Native American communities. They put us out here in the middle of nowhere, and closest town's 30, 40 miles away, and then It just, I don't know, they kind of isolated us.
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
That's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
Just 2 months into office, Trump questioned native birthright citizenship, a right granted in 1924.
The president is using every lever.
His administration argued tribal allegiance made them less American.
The immigration laws of our country.
It's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential.
Then came the budget cuts, targeting climate programs that protect sacred lands and traditional food sources. Centuries of displacement already reshaped native diets. Now, food sovereignty programs, vital for survival and culture, are on the chopping block.
We think of the bald eagle when we think about the most iconic animal in the United States. But their national mascot and their national animal is the American bison. Once driven to extinction, it's now slowly coming back because of the efforts of Native American nations like the Chippewa Cree, who are trying to bring the American buffalo back. But they depend on federal funding to do so. If the current administration pulls the plug, the American buffalo might die out all over again.
We are on Rocky Boys Indian Reservation here in Rocky Boy, Montana, and we are on the Buffalo Ranch. Name of the Buffalo Ranch is Buffalo Child Ranch. The front bull there is going to be the older one out of all of them. You could tell he's older. You could tell by the size of his head. He's a much larger bull than the other 4 that's there. My English name is Theron Oates. My Indian name, my Native American name that my grandfather gave me is Stands on Eagle's Ground.
Talk to us about this program. What are you trying to achieve with it?
So with our buffalo program, we are trying to achieve to where we are getting the buffalo meat back into the diets of our people. So the buffalo is everything to us. They gave us food, clothing, and then furs and hides for our lodges, to follow them. One of the policies was to eradicate the buffalo to kind of help conquer the Native Americans.
Do you receive help from the federal government, or enough help?
Yeah, we do.
Daryl's hesitation says a lot. On reservations, speaking too openly about federal neglect can come with consequences. For the Chippewa Cree, building food security is just one part of the fight. The other is water. They're surrounded by dry prairie. Out here, every drop matters.
My name's Martin Watson. My Indian name is White Eagle. I represent the tribe out at the treatment plant.
Martin is overseeing a massive project, a water pipeline and treatment plant that could finally bring clean running water to the reservation. We drive with him to the construction site. The pipeline spans more than 50 miles, but it's still years from completion. The tribe has been fighting for this for over 2 decades.
They built this to get water here to our reservation because our water system ain't very good right now. We're pretty much in dire need of it because when drought season comes, we have to really watch our water, maintain our water system. The water we have on the res ain't nothing like that water out there. I wouldn't drink it. I don't.
But the entire project depends on federal support. And with Trump pushing to cut environmental protections and tribal infrastructure budgets, tribes could lose the funds to protect their voter rights.
Every president was on board that got elected. They never did shoot this project down.
What about now?
It's hard to say with the commander-in-chief.
Oh, good on. So where are we? What is this beautiful?
That's Lake Elwell, and we're kind of on the top of Tiber Dam, this is called.
Martin takes us to the Tiber Dam, a frozen reservoir set aside for the Chippewa Cree by President Clinton back in the late 90s. This is where the water treatment plant will get its water from. With this project, it's not just water at stake, but a major source of employment.
On our pipeline crews is 100% Native American.
Martin's one of the few with a stable job. Native Americans face some of the highest unemployment rates in the country, with this tribe alone seeing over 60% unemployment in recent years.
We get looked past a lot. I've seen it with my own eyes. People qualified to do the job and others picked in front of them that ain't qualified to do the job, and that's probably a big reason why, is who we are and how we've been looked at.
And each reservation has their own language. We're all unique. That's one of the things that the president is trying to take away by his executive order of English as the official language.
The prayer is in our lifetime to hear one of our own babies speak our language as their first language.
The Chippewa Cree are one of over 500 federally recognized tribes fighting just to exist in today's America. Systemic challenges, political threats, but still, they hold their community close.
The whole Chippewa Cree comes together as a community, men and women, and they're preparing the sport called roping. And this weekend they're about to go in and compete in the sport where they have to rope a cattle or a calf and to tie it in. So would you say you are a cowboy?
I'd say I'm a cowboy. I swing a rope, I ride a horse, I wear a cowboy hat, I enter rodeos. I'd say I'm a cowboy.
Dancers Gigi and Alyssa say the tribe's strength comes from within, from holding on to who they are no matter what's taken away.
We don't need all this money and this and that. As long as we can continue to keep our traditional ways of life, that's how I see our tribe thriving, even if anything else is taken away.
This is your land. You're here first. Don't quit. Don't ever give up. That's my message.
As long as the grass grows and rivers flow and the sun shines, we'll be here.
We're still here. We're gonna be here forever.
They say melanin is just pigment. But pigment doesn't regulate neurons. It doesn't shield DNA from mutation. It doesn't convert solar energy into bioelectric memory. Melanin does. Melanin is the molecule of survival, of sovereignty. It is light captured in flesh. The reason our bodies don't just survive in sunlight, we thrive in it. Melanin absorbs over 99.9% of harmful ultraviolet radiation. It neutralizes free radicals, protects the skin, the blood, the reproductive system, preserves folate, essential for life, and it optimizes vitamin D synthesis, the hormone tied to immunity, bone strength, and mood regulation. But this is deeper than sunscreen science. Inside your brain lives a darker secret, neuromelanin. Concentrated in the substantia nigra, it regulates dopamine, movement, memory, and joy. It binds iron, sequesters toxins, guards the neurons from degeneration. When neuromelanin starts to die, so does the brain. Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, cognitive decline. These are not random. They are consequences of the loss of molecular protection. Melanin is not passive. It is intelligent. It is a semiconductor, a biochemical conduit of energy. It can absorb, store, and convert light. It may even facilitate electromagnetic communication within the nervous system. This is why our bodies feel electric in the sun, why rhythm lives in our bones, why ancestral memory emerges when we close our eyes and feel the light through our skin. And this is why they fear it. This week, we watched two faces of that fear go viral. Sydney Sweeney, front and center in American Eagle's My Jeans Are Blue campaign. But everyone heard what they were really saying. My jeans are blue, wrapped in denim, sold as fashion, coded as supremacy. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed archetype still being positioned as the default. Not because of beauty, but because of genetic insecurity. Then there's Eric Orwell, co-founder of a whites-only settlement initiative called Return to the Land. His ideology? That white people must isolate themselves to survive. That diversity is a threat. That their existence must be preserved through separation. This is eugenics, not in lab coats, but in genes and real estate. Sydney and Eric are pushing the same fear, that proximity to melanin means extinction. That purity must be preserved, even if it's based on scientific lies. But here's what real science says. The Human Genome Project proved that all humans share 99.9% of the same DNA. Skin color is controlled by a tiny number of genes. There's more genetic variation within racial groups than between them. There is no superior race. There is no pure bloodline. What they fear is not replacement. What they fear is irrelevance. Because melanin-rich people are not behind. We are ahead. We adapt faster. We absorb more. We remember more. And while they're burning under UV rays, we're decoding light into information. That's the real reason behind solar dimming projects. That's why they spray the skies. That's why vitamin D deficiency is killing their communities. Because the sun is not their ally, it is their adversary. And still, they call us the problem. They sell blue-eyed nostalgia while their bones cry out for calcium. They fear our DNA while secretly mining it for medical solutions. They want our culture, our rhythm, our genius, without acknowledging the source. They can't create what we carry. They can't clone what is cosmically encoded. So instead, they reduce melanin to just skin tone, while quietly studying its role in neurology, metabolism, and electromagnetic resonance. They call it pigment, but it's protection, conduction, ascension. We don't just survive the sun. We speak to it. We transmute it. We radiate it. And as the solar flares rise and the veils get thinner and the nervous system of this planet begins to spark again, those with melanin will find themselves tuning in, not out. Because this isn't about race, it's about resonance. And the more melanin you carry, the more language you share with light itself. That's the real divide. Not skin, not status, but signal.
Man, get in here, get in here, get in here. Boy, this gonna be a good one. And when I mean a good one, all secrets shall be revealed. Now, we all understood that Walter Pleckard worked for the Virginia Vital Statistics. But do you know what that really is in its entirety? And Jesse Jackson outdone Walter Pleckard by renaming and reclassifying millions dead or alive indigenous peoples of North America. This about to blow your mind. Now, first things first, go and take a screenshot. Virginia was the mother of states because it played a significant role in the formation of 8 other states. Did you catch that? These states were either formed entirely or in part from territories originally claimed by Virginia. Did you catch that? West Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Did you catch that? With portions of Ohio and Minnesota. Did you catch that? Now, it's about to get sticky. But if you'd like to donate $1 before I continue, and this about to blow your mind. Come on, donate $1. But let's continue and watch the Georgia Encyclopedia and what it has to say about Black Native Americans. But go ahead and take a screenshot where it says Cherokee Indians, New Georgia Encyclopedia. Now, watch this. Watch this. Here go the same map, right? Here go the same map. Go and take a screenshot. In Carroll County, Georgia, during the 1830s, the entire Cherokee population were reclassified as colored. As colored. See, you ain't know nothing about that, did you? You ain't know nothing about that, did you? You ain't know nothing about that, did you? Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. But let's continue, and it's about to get even crazier. Now, you remember the World's Fairs, and this is a secret. Where was the World's Fairs? In Indiana. But what do you notice? It says Indian Village at the World's Fair. A village? Wait, a village? Don't some of y'all stay in a village right now where you gotta pay your water bill at the village? And here go another village at the World's Fair. Did you catch that? Now watch this. Let's break down what a village is. A village is a small rural community. Did you catch that? A community. So it's a community of Indians at the World's Fair. Larger than a hamlet, but smaller than a town. Woo! Did you catch that? So you see these Indians, they stay at the World's Fair. Let's get a closer look. You see my brother, right? You see the word village. You see that brother right there? They stayed there. And they told you it wasn't no black peoples at the World's Fair because they was part of the World's Fair. Can you imagine hundreds of people coming there looking at you where you stayed at? Literally before Europeans arrived. Now, let's continue before they went on a Trail of Tears. And we was talking about these Cherokee peoples as they classified as colored in Carroll County. Basically, it was a tactic used to undermine their claims to land and ultimately justify their forced removal, particularly during the Trail of Tears. The Trail of Tears. Go ahead and take a screenshot. Now, this is where they went lands west of the Mississippi River. Did you catch that? Lands west of the Mississippi River is West Virginia, Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and portions of Ohio and Minnesota. Did you catch that? Now, to add insult to injury, have you ever heard of Loving versus Virginia? And the Virginia native peoples, that he married an Indian, now reclassified as colored, thanks to Jesse Jackson, reclassified as African American. And as you can see right here, Loving versus Virginia 3AAU.S1 1967, as you can see, the new Virginia law to preserve a Racial Integrity Act. And as you can see, she was reclassified the only way she could marry him, not as an indigenous person of Virginia, but she had to be classified as a colored. Now watch how the government played a part in it. The U.S. government attempted to categorize Native Americans to a racial classification like colored or Negro, were often inconsistent and politically motivated rather than based on scientific or cultural understanding. Wow! And now you know the secret behind Jesse Jackson and Walter Pleckert and Virginia vital statistics. But he outdone Walter Pleckert because he renamed millions alive and dead. Did you catch that? So if you'd like to donate $1, I greatly appreciate it.
Everything we was talking about with Martin Luther King and Harriet is that they changed their names. And guess who is following this pattern?
Frederick Douglass. But his real name is Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey.
Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey. Okay, y'all. So
real name.
So he said that his mama gave him this name after escaping slavery in 1938, and he said he chose the name Douglas because he changed his name from Augustus Washington Bailey to Frederick Douglass, and he said he chose this name from being inspired by a white man named Walter Scott.
Sir Walter Scott, and he was a poet, and his famous work was Lady of the Lake. But this is a white man, and at that time you gotta think like, why, if we were going through slavery, why are you inspired to change your last name to a white man's last name?
Exactly. I would have been Shaka Zulu, Pooh, whoever around this bitch before I would have changed my name back to the colonizer name. Like, that just does not make sense. Why are you so inspired by a white man? So he was married to Anna Murray Douglas from 1838 and 1882. I believe he used her as the face, like the Obamas, like how they appeared to be this certain way, and then now we don't see them no more. They ain't never together. Like it seemed, like a stage. I mean, so
he really was just starved.
Exactly, because he started his civil rights. Well, not the civil rights, his abolitionist.
Abolitionist
movement in 1840. And so was that 2 years after they got married? And ironically, I said he escaped slavery in 1838. He married her in 1838, and then started his movement in 1840. And then in 1845, this is really, really weird. He traveled to Ireland and Great Britain. In 1845, he traveled to Ireland and Great Britain. Make that make sense. In 1845, he shouldn't be able to travel back and forth. In 1845, he shouldn't be able to travel back and forth from Ireland to Britain to America, and you just escaped slavery in 1838. That just does not make sense. So I'm like, what is going on? How can I make this make sense? And so his last name, like I said, it was Bailey. The origin of Bailey, like the ancestor, that tracks back to Great Britain and Ireland. And so I'm like, okay, did he go home? Like, what is going on? So he also, when he was over there, he was inspired by this man. And I'm like, why? It was this white man too, who apparently
another man, white man,
who apparently was his inspiration for his whole abolitionist movement in America. So I'm like,
in Ireland.
I'm like, why is this man so damn important to him in Ireland?
His name is Daniel O'Connell, and they look alike. And his mom has African ancestry, or descent, and his dad is white. So
he said it. So he said he's mixed race. But y'all, they look alike. Do y'all see it? The same like head. They look alike. And so, in 1847, he started his newsletter about abolishing slavery. It was called
the North Star. And the North Star is a star in the constellation, the Little Dipper. And we all done heard about the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper. But it's kind of aligned to Earth's North Pole. Just a fact.
And so, in 1848, and so y'all, we're talking about, and y'all probably be like, why are y'all talking about these little events? Because I want to bring things to y'all attention, because the little details in these stories matter. So you have to pay attention to these little details. So in 1848, so like I just said, in 1847 he started this newsletter. 1848 he went to a women's right convention. Listen to the dates. In 1848 he went to a women's right convention, and he was the only African American that was there. Of course you were the only African American, because where were African Americans supposedly be? Where were they supposed to be in 1848? In slavery. How the hell did he get in an all-white party?
Traveling to Europe, Ireland and Great Britain
during that time. And people were getting hung. And what was during my grandmother's time? People were getting hung.
Like, why is his story being talked about, being documented at this time where all of these horrible things are happening to our ancestors, and he living like this? Like,
what made him worthy, y'all? Because remember, think about the celebrities of today. In their history, they the ultimate celebrity. They like the gods.
Yeah.
So let's think about that. They're like the gods now. And so this women's rights convention was called
Seneca Falls.
And so my thing is, he was at a white woman's rights convention, because black women, African American women, which is supposed to be us, weren't even considered to be human. So why the hell, what the fuck is you doing? What are you doing at a white woman? Y'all get it? It was during that time, but seriously, what are you doing there?
Like, we need to ask these questions.
What are you doing there?
This is the story they told us,
and it does not make sense if you're looking at it from our perspective. Looking at it from the African American perspective, that still don't make sense. Okay. So, but also remember, y'all, we're looking at this from an indigenous perspective. So if you get too caught up in the African American perspective, you're not going to follow where we're coming from. Right now, we're just breaking down the history that they taught us, because they taught us we're African American. This is what they taught us, but this is not who we are. So understand that we are indigenous. So we're going to get back to that. So, but this is important. So keep following us. And so,
John Brown.
Okay, in 1858, I know y'all heard about John Brown. The name should sound familiar. If you don't necessarily remember the story, it should still be like, why did that name sound familiar? Because we all learned about John Brown. Why do we all learn about John Brown? So he went to stay with John Brown because apparently in New York, Rochester, because they was going on some type of raid to the government during that time, because he was helping with the union and shit, with Harriet Tubman as well. And John Brown, his mama and his daddy owned a house, and I believe Harriet Tubman, she used to drop off slaves there or something like that. Okay. And so I just also found it weird, because all three of them connect.
Yeah, they got a connection.
I also found it weird. Like, he was a little boy too, and Harriet Tubman. Like, it's just weird. So like, what's up with that? Like, all y'all a part of the same clique, because all y'all are still being honored, like she said today. And so where we at? Also, How did he help hide history? Why is it so important to break Frederick Douglass down? Like, what is the point of all of this? Y'all, it's important because he helped hide our history. Because now, keep following me. Now we're looking at it from the indigenous point of view because we know we're not African American. How do we know we're not African American? Because your grandmother didn't tell you not one slavery story. Neither did your great grandmother, and neither did her grandmother, because we were never in. Keep following me.
My great grandmother's mom was full Indian, Cherokee.
We don't look African. We don't sound African. We don't act African.
Our bone structures are different.
We don't like.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be different.
We're Caribbean,
right?
But anyways, so how did he help hide history? What did he do?
His newsletter, the North Star, it was propaganda. It was like their media at the time, like how we have our media now that programs us through everything. It was their media at the time, and putting us in this slavery suppression energy.
And also he was documenting it.
Yeah,
he was documenting their history in that time, so that way today they will be able to teach it to us.
Yeah.
Because also during that time they were burning down our cities.
There was a lot going on at the time. It wasn't just Frederick Douglass.
Look up the Great Fires in the 1800s. Because remember, this is 1838, 1845, all that around that time. Look up the Great Fires, the mud floods. This is what was happening.
Go look at the World's Fairs first. Go on Pinterest and just look up World's Fair Chicago, World's Fair.
What is it that you have? Like, I'm not understanding. Like, I don't, what do you have? You had to steal black indigenous people's identity in order for you to become an American citizen. Like make this shit make sense. You had to lie about not being Russian and put yourselves on the dolls rolls in order for you to become an American citizen. And if that didn't work, you became an American citizen by fighting in the military. The very same military, I might add, that you condemn the Buffalo Soldiers for doing the same thing, for gaining their freedom. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, also, you inserted yourselves in black indigenous people's spaces, got the reparations, had your cousins, uncles, aunties removed off the dolls road, and now you're up here on the internet listening to this fool that's homeless, houseless, right? Talking about how the Buffalo Soldiers, African Americans, which were indigenous people that you had enslaved 3 years over Texas, right? Because you said, why the fuck not would I keep my African slave, which I never understood why you needed African slaves in the first place. Since this is your land, why would you need someone to help you plant shit you've never planted? Because you haven't planted it now. You haven't created a civilization to this day. You're literally sitting up flexing your federalization card in true indigenous people's face. But I digress, that we were also entitled to these lands. And because you don't know anything about your history or want to educate yourself, that you try to demonize people that were indigenous to these lands, which were the black people that created Black Wall Street. And the only reason why you demonize the black people from Black Wall Street is because they did what you still can't fucking do. It doesn't matter how long they held on to the land that they fucking legally had the right to have because they were indigenous, right? You and other natives stood by and watched your cousins, your aunties, and your grandpop land get burnt to the ground. And the only reason why you motherfuckers didn't come and help them is because you were jealous and drunk. Talking about native erasure. So now, to dishonor them even further, you make fun of them and say they were on stolen land, so it got burnt to the ground because they didn't deserve it in the first place. And these are people that were enslaved to your tribes. Got it. We're jealous that we ain't you.
And I think like this sort of, well, I'm only speaking now like from something I haven't really looked into, but I get that Africans are sort of very lazy people. They're not very aggressive. You know, they just sort of want to live off the land and live very comfortable, which is great. if you can do that, you know, if you're in a position to be able to do that. But I felt that they enjoyed our performance there, but I have to be inspired by something when I go to Europe. I enjoy it because the people there are very fashionable, and it's just fun. I mean, all we do is work. We check in a hotel, and we go on stage, and we go to the airport. So you have to feel some kind of inspiration from a city, right? So when I go like to Africa, I'm very down because like the food isn't good. I don't get any really good, fantastic vibes from the people, so I'm just really bored.
They say they built civilization, but they didn't. They inherited it. After the flood, after the fall, after the flame of ancient brilliance had been dimmed and repackaged with pale hands and false tongues. Let's get something straight. The modern white phenotype, light skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, is new. We're talking no more than 6,000 years old. Peer-reviewed genetic studies confirm that the SLC24A5 gene mutation, one of the major determinants of lighter skin, didn't even show up in European populations until around 6,000 years ago, near the Black Sea. Before that, the people of Europe, if they were there at all, were darker-skinned hunter-gatherers, still trying to figure out the rhythm of the earth, while the rest of us had already written semis with it. And yet, they teach you that history begins when they show up. That civilization was born in Greece. That science was born in the Enlightenment. That law was born in Rome. But let me remind you, Greece studied Kemet. Rome conquered Carthage, and Europe stole libraries from the Moors and burned them to hide their own ignorance. The Indus Valley civilization, running urban plumbing before Europe even had wooden huts. Mesopotamia, charting stars, crafting laws, cultivating grain in harmony with the heavens. Olmec cities in the Americas, aligned with constellations, with colossal heads that still defy explanation. Cahokia and the Mississippi Mound Builders, massive earthen pyramids, urban planning, sacred geometry spread across what is now the U.S., long before Columbus ever breathed. Kemet, divine geometry, spiritual technology, and the seat of sacred science that birthed medicine, mathematics, and metaphysics. Every single cradle of civilization predates the emergence of modern Europeans. And guess what? All of them, every single one, was birthed and built by melanated peoples. Not just Africans, but Aboriginal Americans, Dravidians, Nubians, Ainu, and other sun-born beings who lived in sync with the cycles, not in caves hiding from them. This isn't Afrocentrism. This is geological fact, genetic fact, historical record. The real world, not the rewritten one. See, the Cold World mind didn't invent civilization. It industrialized it, it mechanized it, it sterilized it. And now they parade it around like they built it from scratch. They dress in stolen silks, speak in stolen tongues, praise gods they renamed and repackaged from those they once demonized. They fear what they didn't create. They fear what they can't recreate. Because at the root of all this, the wars, the monuments, the museums, the missions, is this quiet truth. They are the youngest version of humanity. And they know it. The mutation of light skin, the thinning of the nose, the straightening of the hair. These were environmental adaptations to life in caves and cold. But they also came at a cost. Melanin is not just skin color, it is neurological, spiritual, photonic. It absorbs energy, stores memory, transmits light. To lose it is not to lose beauty, it is to lose signal. And this is why, even after all the conquest, all the colonizing, all the domination, they still feel empty. Still seeking sun they can't hold. Still building tech they hope can simulate soul. Still hiding truth they fear would wake the sleeping gods in our blood. You ever wonder why they gatekeep history? Why every ancient sculpture's nose is broken off? Why museums are packed with artifacts they say they discovered but could never recreate? Why ancient Americas are falsely labeled as empty until 1492? Because they didn't build civilization. They interrupted it. They cracked the code long enough to profit from it, then called the rest of us savages. But now the memory is returning. Now the bones beneath the soil are whispering again. Now the copper-colored children of this land, the original architects, are rising. And not with vengeance, with vision. Because the truth isn't just that they didn't build this world, it's that they're terrified we'll remember we did. And when we do, they won't be able to explain how their oldest monuments still stand, but their newest systems are already crumbling. So let them have their last days in the sun, because the solar memory in our bones never forgot its throne, and the night is almost over. You can already feel the warmth returning. Now, you see why they fear extinction, and why they'll do anything to silence what comes next.
Thanks for kicking with the catcher. I done found another interesting clip for you guys. And as usual, it's either some news you can use or some good game that's going to inspire you to change. Thanks a lot and enjoy the clip.
I will never stop until we stop these scammers from trying to scam and bully their way into an identity that doesn't belong to them.
The C-Walk! Incredible! Give it gangsta, dog! Give it gangsta! Give it gangsta, dog! Give it gangsta! Give it gangsta, dog! Give it gangsta! Give it gangsta!
These people are scammers, these people are tricksters. They're relying on manipulation and misinformation and spreading mass misinformation on the media to control the masses.
A few moments later.
I think it's time that the world sees and knows the truth. Everybody comes from Native Americans. Native Americans were the first migration out of Africa, reached the Americas first. They would have had to be the first migration in order to reach Americas first. White people, black people, yellow people, and red people all come from people that look like me.
Stop it. Get some help.
He who controls the media controls the masses. They are trying to brainwash and indoctrinate people.
A few moments later.
Native Americans populated the earth, but we can make every type of people Native Americans can. The first humans looked like us.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
The first humans had lighter skin.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
White people, they got lighter from the shade of a Native American. Black people got darker from the shade of a Native American.
Stop it. Get some help.
And so the first humans weren't dark and then they turned white and then yellow and red. No, that doesn't make sense. The first humans were red.
You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why?
We're right in the middle between white and black. Some people got lighter and some people got darker. If Native Americans walked out of Africa, that means they have been everywhere and they left people everywhere. They left people in the Caucasus Mountains, they left people in Asia, and they made it to the Americas first. In order to make it here first, you would have had to be part of the first migration of people in the beginning of time with the first humans.
You sure it wasn't because after the thing that happened to me, no one could look at me without dying laughing?
They weren't black until they evolved to get that dark in Africa.
Young Los a hitter, that's my homie from the DMV. He take the shot, throw up a beat, look like he's shooting threes. I'm sorry, grandma, this the way that I gotta be.
We blend with black Americans more than any other race or any other people. They are the closest people. I mean, the culture is different, but black Americans are the closest people that we can blend to, we can relate to. That we can't really understand their struggle or what they've been through or what they're going through or their culture, but there is something in.
It's Mother America from now on. America is now the motherland. If foundational black Americans influence everybody around the world, y'all copy everything we do, that means we was here first and we are the mother.
Easy, that shit is getting cut. Losing them benefits, losing your status. Truth is being revealed, and y'all hate to see that, huh? Crazy, the WAPOs who's calling us WAPOs is now being portrayed as WAPOs because it's coming out that they are true WAPOs. That's crazy. That's crazy work, yo. Just nasty and crazy ass work. But hey, I said it once and I'll say it again. The truth is gonna be revealed, and you're not gonna like what you see when the truth comes out. I mean, we putting it all out there in y'all faces for everyone to see. So it's not like we're not giving you a heads up, so this won't be so heart crushing and so fucking hard for you to deal with. No, the truth is there, you can see it. But instead y'all would rather call us liars, fakers, and shit like that instead of accepting your people in. That way shit can just go over smoothly. But now Now black Americans like, no, bitch, we know that we're the American Indians. We don't want to be accepted by y'all. We don't want shit to do with y'all. We don't want nothing to do with any group, any of y'all out there. If you're not black American, we're not fucking with you. And I feel like that's on y'all. Y'all pushed us to that point. So now that we're at that point, don't cry about it. And that goes for every other race. Even the ones who was trying to be friendly with us. Like the Asians. They was trying, but we're good. We're good. And I know I got the brown unity up, but I left it up because I'm not going to take it down, but we're still good. At this point in time, we're good. We're focused on us and us only. And I understand that. But hey, if you liked the video, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe because every little click helps. And thank you guys so much over here at Azrael Reacts. But I've been your boy Azrael. This has been another episode of Azrael Reacts, and I'll check you guys next time. Deuces!